This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
Good morning and welcome to your sunrise safari in Djuma, Sabi Sands, Greater Kruger National Park. We are a lovely, lovely cold morning this morning and just getting going, but we're excited for what we're going to find. We've just found Hukumuri's tracks from last night. If you were watching the sunset safari yesterday, you'd have seen we managed to find Hukumuri last night, right before the close of drive. So we're hoping he's still on the property. Like Tristan says, it's a long night out here, so he could have very easily missioned through and passed through Djuma. But let's see, we're going to follow his tracks. Tristan's going to leapfrog ahead, and we're going to see if we can maybe pick him up before he's left the property. Other than that, we are just going to enjoy this morning. My name is David Hancock, and on camera we have Alex. Well, I'm just quickly going to show you a track of Hukumuri. Remember, kids, we'd love to hear from you as well, so any questions you may have, send to kidsquestions@wildearth.tv. Let me actually get a light here and I can show you the track a little bit better. It's a lovely leopard track. It's very large. Can you see that there, Alex? Let me use my phone, it'll be a bit better. He's got a big boy track. That's a lovely large pad at the back there. And he came walking down this road, not too far from where we saw him last night. Obviously calling and marking his territory as he does, so these tracks are probably a good 8 hours old at least, so he's got a long lead on us, but let's see if we can get lucky. It was lovely to see him last night though.
Tristan, come in. Yeah, go ahead. Good morning, Tristan.
Well,
Are you going to do Central this morning going with
sounds like
your Eastern
Tristan is out and about, so let's send you over to him and let him say good morning.
Well, we are wanting to say good morning and see. Nice to see all of you, actually. Sorry, I had someone talking in my ear right now. But it's nice to see all of you. As David mentioned, my name's Tristan. On camera, I got BK. We're obviously just trying to see what's going to be out here for the morning. I think we're going to have a bit of a tough morning from a leopard point of view because unless we can find Tingana, our options are starting to become quite limited. We know Shadulu, well, what we think is Shadulu moved through here, not last night, the night before. So chances are she's not going to be this side. Hukumuri, I'll be very, very, very surprised if he's still on this property. We know how much he can move, and given that he was found about 12 hours ago, I wouldn't be surprised he's a long way away. Kalamba was seen briefly last night, all the way back up on the Manyeleti Buffelshoek boundary again. I don't know what she's doing up there. She must have walked the entire day yesterday going up that way from where we had her in the morning. So she's gone that side. So chances of any of our normal kind of leopards being around is very slim. The only other one we can check for is potentially Tundi, which is what we're going to do. Dave just asked me to just leapfrog ahead of him where I think Hukumuri will cross out. So we're just quickly checking Treehouse Dam, and then we're going to go Gari Main and then up the eastern boundary, try and just check if there's any sign of Tundi coming in. Failing all of that, then we'll probably head towards Chitwa and try and see if we can find any of the Chitwa cats that side, because the Nkuhumas are quite far away. They were on the sort of western side of Ottawa, so they'll have to take a long time until they get back to us. So yeah, that's I think the plan for the morning, is to just try and scrounge around and see what we can find. It's a beautiful, beautiful day. It's not as cold as it was yesterday, but it is a very, very pretty morning. It's clear skies, it's nice colors in the sky. So it seems like it'll be a good day. I'm just listening to all the updates that are coming through. The guys are updating left, right, and center at the moment. There's guys updating about buffalo tracks and the telematis. Lots. Eddie, who's 13 years old, have we ever used drones to find animals? Yes, Eddie, we have. At one point, we were using a drone that was fitted with a thermal camera. And the thermal camera was able to pick up the heat signature of the animals, and it took us quite a while to kind of get it right, but we started to get quite good at it, particularly with spotting cats. It was, we started to work out what we were looking at and how we could kind of figure out which animals were which. So yeah, we have used it. Like I say, it was pretty successful towards the end. We started to get, like I say, good with finding animals with the drone. In terms of during the day, though, not really. Animals camouflage really well. Unless the drone is super low, it's sometimes quite tricky to actually spot animals just using it, flying it around. It's not that easy. Unless they're out in the open, you don't really see them very well during the day. But yeah, the idea was not to disturb the animals, so not to fly too low, where we were in a situation where animals were being kind of made to run or anything like that. So we normally flew a little higher, which was why we probably missed a couple things as well. But the thermal drone was fun. It was an interesting experience to see animals from there and work out heat signatures. The problem is that particular camera, you can't control your temperature range, so it would just expose. So it would basically show a uniform sort of color across the frame. So it would pick up what is hot, sure, but it would kind of expose for the... Sorry, for a second there I thought I saw dog tracks, but it's hyenas. It would expose for the general scene. You couldn't actually set the temperature, so a lot of the time it would kind of pick up the warmth of trees, particularly in summer. The things like leadwoods and bush willows, they retain a lot of heat during the summer, and so if a cat was lying there, or it was lying on a termite mound, or anything on a termite mound, we couldn't really see anything. If we were able to adjust the temperature range, we would have been able to be, I think, a lot more successful than we were from earlier on. But like once we worked it out, then we started to get it right quite quickly. The sun is just starting to come up now. It's a beautiful, beautiful light at the moment. It would be nice to find a leopard in a tree, that's for sure. Anyway, I'm going to look around. We're going to see. I'm going to just jump ahead of David, just see if the tracks go out down here on Gari Main. In the meantime, though, let's send you across to Rowan at andBeyond in Ngala, so he can say good morning.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this side of the Sunrise Safari at andBeyond in Ngala. You are with me, Rowan, and behind the camera I've got Odie Ondal. We are looking for a male lion. So last night at about 3:10, all of us were waking up with what sounded like the entire pride roaring in front of the tented camp. So this morning we checked the riverbed quickly in front of the camp, nothing there. Went up to the southern bank, found a herd of buffalo, but they didn't look disturbed at all. And then while we were sitting there watching the buffalo, we heard a male lion roaring, almost in this direction. So we are now driving here. So every now and then what we're doing, almost like bunny hopping. So we'll drive a little bit for about 5 minutes, switch off and just listen until we can hear it again, and then it makes us determine where the sound is coming from. As you can see, quite cold, not as bad as yesterday, but I must say my nose is freezing. Owen's also wrapped up in a blankie, thick jacket and a beanie, just like myself. But otherwise it looks like it's going to be a spectacular day. Of course, now with it being so cold, it's a good time for lions to roar, because the sound will travel further. And let me tell you, they haven't stopped since 3:10. So that's pretty much the time we've all been awake since. Beautiful sound to hear in your from your room though. In summertime, usually what we do when they start roaring is you run out your room and you try to determine which direction it's coming from. Wintertime, you don't leave your bed. So this road bends a lot. I mean, technically all we want to do is be on that side. But now this road follows the curve of the river. Josie, 7 years old, wants to know, what would I do if a lion has a cut and I need to help it? Josie, so where we are, we're in an open and natural system that is about 2.2 million hectares big. So sadly here, when a lion has a cut, we do not help it. Unless the cut was made by a human, so the injury is human induced, then we get involved, we'll get a vet, and we'll try to fix the lion. Otherwise, if it's anything caused by another animal or another lion or anything like that, anything natural, then we'll just let it be and let nature take its course. Usually, with a lot of these animals, cuts can heal themselves. Lions licking their wounds can heal it very, very quickly. So in about 2 minutes, we'll get onto the old airstrip. That is where we'll stop again and just listen and see if this lion roars again. Whew, lots of elephant tracks on this road. It's a good sign. Maybe we'll see some elephants later. So last night, Owen and Eric, after their nighttime safari, they went back to the Pride. And they watched them for about 10-15 minutes waking up. And then they killed a kudu. Yeah, apparently a big kudu. So we were thinking, no, they weren't going to move too far. But then apparently they came towards the tented camp. So they did move quite a distance. But then, of course, it's a lot of lions. So a kudu does not last too long. Some elephants here. Let's start with them while we just switch off and listen. And does that work? A little bit further back? All good. I can take my beanie off so I can close my ears. Hopefully we can hear the lion roaring again. They look quite peaceful. They don't look like they've seen a lion. So I counted 4 elephants there. So there we go. It's a little bit cold, so the lens fogs up a little bit. Notice now that elephant's not flapping her ears at all because it is so cold. So there's really no need. It's just having their breakfast. Yeah, all the birds are waking up now as well. Sorry, I was just cleaning the lens. It's misting up quite a bit. There you go. Oh, how wonderful is that light coming through the tree. Rose is asking, have I ever seen a baby elephant like Dumbo? Rose, I've seen a baby elephant. I think Owen's now picturing up. There we go. There's the baby. Odie followed it. Okay. There's another one just to the right of that. Just came out behind the mob. So yes, we do get babies. There's actually one right in front of where the other elephant was. Okay, now it's following mom. But I've never seen an elephant with as big ears as Dumbo. Luckily, they don't fly around here either. Imagine how dangerous that would be for the guides if they decide to poo on us. So now I've not seen an elephant with as big ears as Dumbo, but I've seen baby elephants indeed. Seems they are now all moving off into the bush. But stunning with the light of the sun coming into the trees like that. Okay, we're going to continue going into this clearing, and then I'll go stop there and listen if we can hear any lines. Okay, so David is also just bumbling about on Djuma. We're going to send you over to him.
Welcome back. We are still on Hukamuri's tracks. He's basically doing a beeline to our southern boundary, so it's not looking very promising because the boundary is a couple hundred yards in front of us, but it's always at least satisfying to know that you made sure that he wasn't just lurking about. I was kind of hoping he bumped into a young impala, or maybe got in a scrap with Tingana or something to keep him on the property, but it doesn't look to be. But we're just gonna make sure. You never know, he could be lying just here. But we're just gonna follow these tracks of his out and then carry on to our next objective. Hukamuri's got such a cool track. It's got a very nice large pug mark. It was so special spending time with him last night. Hearing his sawing territory call, that guttural, that deep, deep resonating guttural saw that they do. Well, it was cool when we picked him up with the flashlight, with the torch. BK immediately said that's hook because the only one eye was reflecting, and you could see that it was a leopard, but you couldn't see which leopard, and it was like a giveaway that is only one eye reflected. That was pretty cool. And here we go. Hukamuri has left the property. Crosses over the boundary there. But at least we made sure. Anthony, 9 years old, you've asked, can animals attack us while we're in an open car? And the only animals that we really would be concerned about out here are generally elephant. They're about the only ones that ever attack a car. And they're not really attacking you as a person so much, they're just attacking the thing, the car, that's getting too close or making them feel afraid. But Anthony, it's not something that we worry about. It's never happened to me as far as I can remember. I've had my vehicle bumped before by animals, but nothing ever serious. Predators, I suppose, if they wanted to, they could jump in and attack you very easily. You know, when Hukamuri walks past us last night at 3 feet away, he could if he wanted to, but those animals see the car as one big thing with you in it as one big thing. They don't really see there's a person on the car that I could eat and there's just a car. So they're afraid of the whole unit, so they don't single you out. That's why on safaris, traditional safaris where we have guests on the back of the vehicle, you'll get asked to sit down and not stand up, because when you stand up during a sighting, then immediately you break that silhouette of the car, and the animal or the predator can immediately see, oh, there are people on the car, it's not just one big thing. But other than that, just give elephants their space and it'll be all good. Nothing to worry about. We don't worry about being attacked out here. Seeing some buffalo tracks crossing this road, but they don't look too fresh. Here's some dung up here. Let's have a look quickly. I think this might have been the herd that crossed into Treehouse Dam yesterday. That's definitely it. You can see that this dung is not fresh. If this was last night, this would be very wet. And you can see it's nice and dry now, like a cow paddy. That's a good day old. It is still wet on the inside because it was from yesterday, but the outer crust is hard. Sorry, I was trying to show you that, but it was a little bit far forward. We can move it. You can see it better. Playing in the buffalo poo. If you've never experienced it, standing in a warm pile of buffalo poo barefoot is always a winner. That's not warm anymore. That's gotten nice and cold. That's from yesterday. Oh, on we go, looking for the next set of fresh tracks that have crossed the road. Hukamuri has crossed our southern boundary. Well, it sounds like the lion are back on Ngala, so let's go over to them and see what's happening.
Right, so it didn't take too long. Managed to find the pride. There's one of the Ross males here, and of course the Birmingham young males also with the pride. Good news, means he ate his fair share of the kudu. Actually, I spoke to Eric about it, and he says he was right in there, right in the middle of the carcass, eating majority of it. But yeah, here's the Ross male. Don't know where the brother is, but it's the same Ross male that was with the pride yesterday. And of course, you can see the young male. And very playful cubs. Of course, it's nice and cold now, so the lions can still play, especially where they are in the sand. Should be quite fun for them to be very playful. I'm hoping that maybe they'll give us another roar, and then the entire pride will get involved. It's amazing how spread out they are in the river as well. Like they're all bunched up together. And to be honest, if they ate a whole kudu last night, it's not showing at all. But as you can imagine, again, such a big pride, a kudu does not even go very far. I'm really crossing my fingers. One more roar. Be amazing, the echo where they are now in the riverbed. Rose and Olivia wants to know how many lions we have here. So Rose and Olivia, I'm going to count out loud for you. To the left we've got one female, and then to her right is a Ross male, so 2. On the other side, 3, 4, 5, all 3 of those females. Then the young little white one, number 6. Then the young male, number 7, Birmingham young male. Then another 5 cubs. So 12. Then the white male, number 13, and then another female in the back, number 14. So we are missing one Ross male, and then the young Birmingham lioness, the one with the 2 cubs. She's also not here. Now imagine 14 lions roaring in this, with this echo going through the riverbed. It would be astounding. Landeka saying that would be magical. I agree, completely agree. Just one more. I think what we need is for the other Ross male that's not here to roar, and this one would answer. And if he starts answering, the entire pride would roar as well. So of course, for coalitions or other lions around this reserve, if they had to hear all 14 of them roaring, imagine how intimidating that must sound instead of just having one lion roaring. Some of the cubs are getting tired now. See, less playful. There's a little white one. He's up and about. He's just going to his siblings. Let me get my head out of the way. Big stretch. He has a new scar on his face. So probably from feeding last night. Got into a bit of a fight with either the siblings or the young male or one of the females or the Ross male. Someone scratched him on the nose. If he survives, it's going to be a really big lion. You can see it in the size of his head already. Quite impressive. Wesley wants to know what the population of lions are in Africa. Wesley, I think I had a very good statistic about this the other day. There's something like 22,000, just over 22,000 wild lions left in the whole of Africa. Less lions than wild gorillas. It's quite a dismal number, really. No, I was quite sad to read about it. Very good question, Wesley. Thing is, it's a bit of a, it would be a bit of an estimate. It's tough to count them because only 80% of lions make it to over the age of 2 years. I'm just moving around a bit because see a lot of these lions are looking back to behind us. So I just want to see what they're looking at. So yeah, only 80% of lions make it to over the age of 2 years. So, when this estimate was taken, I don't know if they included, cubs under the age of 1. No. I think, if I remember correctly, there is 357,000 people for every one lion. I'll need to go read that article then. What was it? And 14 times more African elephants in the wild than lions. Okay, so we're going to sit here for a while, and fingers crossed they start roaring. But for now, I'll send you over to David, who's got a bird.
You just stopped to enjoy this beautiful grey go-away bird. It used to be called a grey lory. Sunning itself on this leadwood tree. You can see it's perched there before. There's some leftover droppings. It's a perfect bird's roost. See, it's all ruffled up and cold. Just waiting for the sun to warm it before it carries on with its day of searching for food, fruits and flowers, and maybe an insect or two. Alex and I have decided that this morning is going to be a birding morning. We're going to try and find as many birds as we can. Maybe try and identify a couple species that are uncommon. And here's a good start. One of the most common birds in the Lowveld. One of the most noticeable calls, I should say. They've got that very, sometimes annoying alarm call that they give when you walk through the bush, whether it's a predator or a human. Anything that leaves them unsettled will cause them to give that quack, quack, quack. And that's very annoying when you're trying to do a bushwalk and stalk perhaps a beautiful rhino without him seeing you or hearing you. You just get into perfect position, and then Mr. Grey Lurie here, or Grey Go-Away Bird, gives that call. That's why they're called go-away birds. And then the rhino jumps about because he knows something is there. So a bit of a love-hate relationship with these birds when you're on bushwalk. Wow, it sounds like Tristan's already jumped the gun and found some incredible birds this morning. Let's send you over to him.
Well, we've got 2 ground hornbills, so from an interesting bird that David had to interesting birds that we have. These guys are quite far away. I was a bit shy that they might fly, and so we've just been switched off and watching them, and they just kind of slowly but surely walking away from us. Just the 2 of them, there's no more than that. But what it has given us an opportunity to do is hear a leopard calling right here, not far from where we are. Unfortunately inside Torchwood, but not far at all. It sounds very close. So I'm just hoping that it's Tundi and she's on a patrol and she's going to pop out somewhere on the boundary for us. So that's why I'm quite excited just to sit with these guys for a while and just keep listening. But it sounded closer than far, put it that way. The only problem is with Tundi, or with any leopard calling or lions calling in cold weather like this, is it actually carries further than you would think. Sometimes it's a little bit further than what you initially thought. But let's just try to see if we can catch up with these guys a little bit and get a better view of them. I'm also quite keen to show you, it'll be a nice opportunity, since David has been doing tracks this morning of leopard and buffalo. This will be a nice opportunity to show you the tracks of a ground hornbill and what they look like. They got quite cool big feet, so it's nice when you can actually see their tracks. I just got to try and find a track, but given that they've walked on the road, it shouldn't be too much of a problem to find them. It's cold though this morning. The Mulawati was absolutely freezing when we went through there. It wasn't pleasant at all. It was very, very cold. Here their tracks are, but we'll get onto their tracks now. Hold on, BK. Let me just pull over to the side. So quite a nice thing to look at, because like I say, we don't get to see these tracks very, very often. I'm going to do one that's a little bit further away, BK, so that you can see. As you can see, I've got my beanie over my hat because my ears were freezing in the Mulawati. I thought I could brave it, but it was cold down there, so let me put those on. But basically, I think let's look at this one here, BK. So here is the foot. This would have been the right foot of this particular ground hornbill. And what you've got is you've got a back toe over here, so this round toe there with a very sharp sort of claw on the back. So claw, toe, then space, because remember this bird can perch, so it's almost, when it stands with like a kind of that sort of structure, so the toes are slightly raised, so the middle of the foot doesn't imprint at all, and then you've got 1, 2, 3 toes coming forward with the claws over there. So those are the claws that you've got in front, and these guys, like I say, will then walk around. But as I said to you, right foot and then left foot behind it, but quite a big track if you look at it. So this is the kind of, I'm going to draw a line here for you and a line over there to give you an idea. That's the size of my hand. So a ground hornbill has the same size foot essentially as what my hand is. Really kind of big birds, big feet, but like I say, nice track. This one is actually probably even clearer, BK. I don't know if you can get this one, it might be too close, but it's quite nice to actually see the little claws on the front of the toes itself. So nice opportunity for these particular tracks. You don't see them very often at all. Just looking behind us in case this leopard pops out. I don't think she's that close. I think it's Tundi calling. Sounds like a female. It doesn't sound too loud, so think it's her, but we'll see. Maybe it's Tingana calling. Could be him too. Lilac breasted roller for a second. I thought maybe it was an impala. Alright, we're just going to turn around and I'm going to just sit on the cut line for a while. Once we can. I don't know where the hornbills have gone. They look like they've disappeared up the road. So we're just probably going to turn around and have a little seat for a while and listen out. Often when a leopard is sawing like that, it's an indication that they're on the move. And so it might be worth just hanging around. You never know. I mean, they could walk the other way and away from us, but could be worth the time, effort, and patience. If it is her calling, though, it would be interesting because she shouldn't really be calling that close to where she's keeping the cubs. So maybe, like I say, maybe it's Tingana and I just didn't hear well with my earpiece and beanie on. Alright, let's get one last view of these ground hornbills. They're already running away from us. These guys are little scaredy cats this morning. They don't want to be seen. So while we watch these little bottoms... Oh, there goes a leopard. A leopard! Do you see that? A leopard chased the ground hornbill. No ways! That's ridiculous. That's crazy! No ways! That's crazy! What just happened? Tandy, what are you doing? That's ridiculous. But hello, girl. Yes. PK. That's amazing. Never in my life have I ever seen a ground hornbill being chased by a leopard. And I promise you right now, we were watching the ground hornbills before you guys came to us. And I was like, I'm sure that leopards hunt these guys, but I've never seen it. I wonder why they don't hunt them. And look at that. That's amazing. Imagine if she had grabbed it, how crazy that would have been. Absolutely ridiculous. Wow. I can't actually believe that she's tried to hunt a ground hornbill out of nowhere. And to think we were about to send you over to Swalu Kalahari because they're getting going for the morning, but that was just perfect timing. Oh my goodness, that's ridiculous. I have never in my life seen them try and go after one. That ground hornbill, I would actually love to see a replay of that because I don't know how close she actually got. Landek, is it possible to play that back for everybody? Excellent, so we do have a replay. So let's have a look at how close she actually got. Crazy was that? That's amazing. I can't wait to see that footage again. You guys obviously got to see it, but I can't wait to see it again. And our instincts just to hold tight and wait a little bit and come look for Tandy has absolutely paid off. I've driven this road so many times of late, and I'm so excited that finally we've managed to find her. Now there's another car in the area. I just need to let them know. Yeah, Johan, just come Cheetah Cutline. I've got Tandy here. She's mobile. Now into Djuma, north of Hippo Pools, Quarry Pan Road. So just let the other guys know because they were helping us in the area. They were checking inside Torchwood when I had the audio, but I still can't believe she went after a ground hornbill. Tandy? If you had grabbed that, that would have just been the most insane thing to watch because that ground hornbill would have fought with her and there would have been wings and beaks and all kinds of things. I don't know if it's a bird you would want to actually grab. I mean, I reckon that beak could be quite dangerous for a leopard, but that's absolutely ridiculous. Tandy, it's good to see her though. She's looking amazing. Obviously she's got a little milk belly still, given that she's got the cubs. I'm hoping that the cubs are somewhere here. I don't think so though. I think she's potentially on the hunt. I think she's looking for food rather than going back to cubs. The cubs were seen one cub was seen 2 days ago on Torchwood, so I don't think the cubs are on our side. There's no tracks indicating that she's brought them across, but it's fine. We'll take just a sighting of her anyway at this stage. Let's try sneak in here. Sorry, girl. Oh, it is good to see her. Eric, who's 7 years old, yes, if she managed to grab it, she would most definitely eat it. It's nutrients, and leopards hunt birds a lot. They go after doves and francolins, guinea fowl, lots of different types of birds they'll eat. So that would just be a big bird, it would be a big meal, but I think it would be quite a dangerous one, Eric. That beak of a ground hornbill is crazy strong, and so it's possible she would get herself into a lot of trouble by trying to go after a ground hornbill. That's for sure, but crazy. I've, like I say, never, ever, ever, ever seen them actually launch at a ground hornbill. BK, let's try follow her, because once she gets into this stuff, it's going to be very tricky. This is a horrible, horrible place that she is in going forward. It starts to get worse and worse as we go. This is little Tlalamba's favorite place to go and lose a vehicle. She loves to get in amongst these teaks. Luckily, Tandi's far nicer about things. Oh, I'm so excited to see her. You see, it's the beanie. It's the lucky beanie, everybody. The lucky beanie. Thank you, Ali. I stole this from Ali when I left home the other day. So, Ali, well done. There's a lucky beanie. 2 mornings in a row, the beanie has struck with the Tandi family. First Tlalamba, and now Tandi herself. BK, are you laughing at my lucky beanie? Alright, we're going to try keep up with Tandi through these thick round leaf teak areas, and so while we do that, let's send you back to andBeyond Ngala and the Birmingham Pride.
What a cool morning, and what a way to start. So, the Pride just roared. And I'll be honest, it was absolute power. But then the thing is also, I mean, you just had a leopard jump out at a at a southern ground hornbill, so you can't really, almost sacrifice one for the other. But I'm crossing fingers that it would happen again. You never know. And it was, strangely enough, it wasn't the Ross male that started the roar. It was one of the females. A little bit further to our left. Started, so we're hoping, it's still cold enough for them to even roar one last time. Some of them are starting to wake up now, and you can actually see some of them moved into the sun a little bit to catch that little first bit of light, warm up a tiny bit, and the rest are still snoozing. That's the Rossmale now that's moved into the grass. And how extraordinary is that camouflage, that tawny color in the dried grass. It was actually amazing to see how the youngsters got involved in the roar. I remember the first time seeing it, the cubs didn't really know what to do when their parents started roaring. They were very, very, very confused, running in all different directions. And now they just lend their voice to the Pride. It's amazing to see. So fingers crossed it happens again. You never know. Little white lioness has her head up. She's starting to wake up a little bit. I love SA 2019 wants to know, when will the mama bring the cubs to the Pride? It's tough to tell. It's really tough to say when she's going to introduce the rest of the Pride to the cubs, and we're hoping she's going to do it rather later than sooner, because with the new cubs being here and the older ones being this age already, what would happen is the older cubs might be a danger to the newer ones. You know, they might treat them as toys and play a little bit too rough and end up injuring them quite badly. We've had it before where the older cubs broke the spine of a younger cub. So, you know, we can't say, it's going to happen on day 56 of their lives at all. So we'll just have to wait and see. Also, it's her first litter, so hopefully she keeps them away for a little while longer. So that lioness is not actually here. She's not with the pride at the moment. So I think she ate and probably went back to her youngsters. So maybe a little bit later we'll swing around that side and see if she brings them out into the river to the Timbavati to, you know, feed them and also for them to warm up a little bit. I'm pretty sure she'll be cuddled up with them now into one of those tributaries, yeah. So she was with the pride yesterday afternoon, and she would have eaten the kudu with them, and with that bit of sustenance she goes back. Okay, so it turns out Kitty's session has just come to an end, so we thank you very much for the interesting questions. Now everyone else can get involved. Please send your questions through at FC on YouTube or hashtag WildEarth on Twitch and Twitter. So everyone else welcome to comment and send your questions. That includes kids if you still have more questions. Oh, look at this male. It's playtime now. So this white male just decided to wake up and hit the other one on the head. Don't know why. You can see with him, he looks very spotty with the white coat. You can actually see where the ticks have bitten in, and you see scratches more clearly than on the tawny cubs. But look at all those dots. Needs a wash. It looks like, so I think the tawny cub is cleaning itself, and it's like the white male is jealous. Maybe he wants to be groomed as well. You just see those eyes. Like a cat. Okay, so let's see what happens here quickly. Okay, it's just time to tackle him. See, so that's a male, the white one, on top of a female. Okay, it's not really what I was expecting. Bited by the tail. So it's just nice to see these two play a little while. Alright, so we're going to sit here for still some time, but I think for now Tristan seems to have moved around quite nicely, and I think he's got a nice view of Thandi, so we're going to send you back over to Djuma.
We do have a view of Thandi, but she's making life tricky for us. I'm trying to keep up with her at the moment, but it's really not easy. She's going through a horrible, horrible area, as you can hear by the sound of all the branches that's breaking. She's definitely looking for food, though. The way that she's walking, the way that she's sniffing the ground, looking for duikers and steenbok. That's what she looks like she's doing at the moment. Constantly got her nose down in like areas where there's a bit of flattened bush. So I'm pretty sure she's trying to sniff out a duiker or a steenbok somewhere in this general vicinity. She's zigzagging a lot as well. It's not walking in a straight line at all. Now, the interesting part about this is I don't think she's she could be the leopard that called and had just repositioned herself on the other side of those ground hornbills, but she came out of Djuma chasing those ground hornbills. So unless she crossed the road in front of them and then just lay down in wait, I'm not really sure, but that was just ridiculous. I mean, I know leopards eat ground hornbills in the nests, but I've never, ever seen footage of them trying to chase ground hornbills, adult ground hornbills walking around. I mean, I've seen them going after chicks, but never this crazy sighting. Thandi? Thank you for that. That was very entertaining. But you can see how they just disappear when they get into these little teak thickets. It can be really tricky to be able to keep up with them and actually see them. They kind of spot pattern in the way these teaks sort of shine and shadow. It makes it very difficult. You see, she's sniffing in there. What are you smelling, Dundee? I wonder if that's just an area where little Dyke has been sleeping. Can't see her. She's just walking. Yeah. You got it. Okay. It's a little bit tricky because the light is in our eyes now, but I'm just seeing where she wants to go. It seems like her general direction is kind of towards Buffelshoek Dam area. That's where she's roughly heading at this stage, but in a very zigzagged way. I'm sure a lot of you are excited to see her. I mean, we've all been wanting to see her, so it's really, really good. Now we just need the other tee to make an appearance. So we had the first tee yesterday was Klalamba, the second tee Tundi, and now we need the third one in the form of Tingana. And then we will have completed our tee trifecta. So slowly getting reacquainted with all of our cats. Just took a little while to Landek is saying I wasn't feeling that optimistic about finding a leopard, but I did say it. I said the one leopard we would be looking for would be Tundi, because I was sure Hukamuri was going to cross out, and I got both of those right at least. But like I say, it just took a few weeks to dial back in, I think, in some respects. What have you seen, Tundi? You've spotted something. Her whole demeanor has changed. Look at her posture now. So she's gone from walking to that head up, alert, ears forward. I wonder if it's not like a little scrub hair or something hidden in this little thicket. It's amazing how quickly they turn from, ambling around and just kind of looking like they are disinterested in most things to all of a sudden hearing something and stopping and listening and making sure. If she goes again, I don't know, maybe she just heard something and it wasn't what she initially expected. I don't want to move too much just yet because she kind of looks like she's going around the bush to check. Can you hear her walking? I mean, I can hear her there. If she's making that much noise, we don't need to worry too much. Tundi, why do you go through the monkey oranges? It's also incredible, I mean, Klalamba is the same, but incredible to me how quickly these cats cover distance. It's amazing how fast they negotiate these things. Oh, she's going to go up on a little mound here for us, which is really nice. But we're going to have the back of her, unfortunately, but I don't want to go too far, otherwise our shadow will be on her. But nice in this beautiful morning light. So this is a typical hunting cat. They like to use these mounds. They get up a little bit higher, they scan, they look, they listen. From there, then they work out, okay, where am I going to go? Can I see something? And then off they go down again. So mounds are something that leopards use a lot, and when you track them, often you're looking for mounds because you know that they'll sometimes go up there, check, and then down again, or they utilize them to even sleep on. So it's always a good thing to do when you're tracking them. Oh, she is beautiful. Amazing how she melts into those shadows, though. Once she gets into the shadow, much harder to see her. All right, I need to keep up with her, otherwise she's going to lose us pretty quickly. Nice to us. She's taken us, described as the most friendly route through this thick. It gets a lot.
Good morning from another magical day at Swala Kalahari. I thank you for joining Yandre behind the camera there and myself, Dylan. Today we're going to really try to find you some awesome things. We don't know what we've got in store. I've got one or two ideas, but yeah, let's see if we can actually get the things. I'm not going to give the game away just yet as to what we're looking for, but what I will say is we're going to head down to the Meerkat group, the Gossas, in a couple of minutes and join them as they're getting out of bed and head off foraging, and then we'll see what else we can pull out the bag. So let's just go out there and explore and have a brilliant day together. Thank you. So while I've got you, okay, I just want to show you something in terms of kills. What we're seeing over here, it doesn't look hugely exciting at first, but you may notice you've got a lot of smooth sand, you've got some prints around it, but in the middle over here, there's a lot of track activity. And that's where it gets interesting. So you've got a dead branch, you know, and just, okay, well, there's a dead branch. But if you start looking carefully here, you'll see all the little broken pieces of wood coming off it. And the branch itself is covered in sand. So what's happened here, it's a branch that's fallen off one of these trees, and termites have actually got into it. And you can see all the sand inside there. So this branch is actually almost hollow already. And what these tracks are around it are birds that have actually been foraging on the termites inside this log, or this branch. So the importance of dried wood cannot be overestimated in any system. You know, down in the Lowveld, the team has just been watching leopard and hornbill interactions there. That's incredible. But even those species, there's dead wood all over that environment, and that's critical for the survival of those hornbills, of those leopards. Maybe not in a direct sense, but certainly indirectly. Hornbills, those ground hornbills that they're watching, they need large trees, very big trees to nest in. But they can't nest in those trees because they nest in holes. So they can't nest in those trees unless those trees have actually started rotting or breaking down on the inside and creating these big cavities. And that's where those hornbills nest. So, you know, dead wood is absolutely critical to these environments. So while Yandre and I are enjoying the dead wood on Swalu, head back down to the Lowveld and follow up on what that leopard's up to.
Well, we're going to try and follow her. She's not making it easy at all. She's going through horrible stuff at this stage. But Dylan is making me laugh because I reckon he's spending more time sitting on the floor than on his Land Rover seat. So at least his Land Rover seat will look new for the next person that uses that Land Rover. But he's got such interesting things, it makes me laugh. I was watching some of the stuff. He's certainly a character, is Dylan, and doing really well on that side of things. It's so obviously difficult for new guides coming in, because it's not an easy thing to do this with people talking in your ear, and you know, it's just very foreign to what you do as a normal guide. So I always think it's amazing when guys are able to just seamlessly kind of fit in and do so well. So it's always a big sort of congratulations to those guys, particularly, like I say, the andBeyond guides as well, done so well, all things considered. Thandi, why this way? Honestly, there's big root stumps and alright, I think we're right to Landeko for now. Oh, she's right here. I think we're okay. We at least have a slight view of her bottom. You see her there, BK? Yeah, good. Still looking around. I'm surprised that in these thickets that we've been driving around in so far, that we haven't seen any sign of a duiker yet. Generally, when you drive around through these, you see duikers bounding away, or you know, steenbok or scrub hares, but so far nothing. All right, BK, let's try and squeeze ourselves through. Nope, we're not going to go through that way. So we're going to have to try and find ourselves a different way through. Oh, we actually don't even have to go through. She's stopped for us very nicely right in front, which is quite lovely. She won't be there for long, obviously. She's going to move again, but you see her? There we go. There we go. I don't know what she's looking at now. She's obviously scanning around. There's a nice big termite mound coming up, so I'm hoping that she's going to go up onto that termite mound. It's probably about, I'd say about 40-50 meters ahead of where she is. So let's see if she goes there. We had this most beautiful fallen over tree, and I was hoping she was going to go up and just lie on the tree for a little bit. And she went and she scratched her claws briefly and then just hopped down and scent marked and carried on. She didn't stay up on there at all, like we had hoped for. But, you know, she's still been giving us a show already this morning, that's for sure. Shitaka, don't worry, the road is not far now, so we're approaching a road called Hippo Pools. It's within another 100 meters or so, so getting out of here will be fine. And it's actually not as bad as it looks. Yes, there's a lot of trees, but there's little gaps through. Thankfully, we have a good population of elephants that roll through this reserve regularly, and they actually create these kind of little gaps for us to be able to fit through. So where I am now, I've got a big stump, but if I just kind of weave my way, I'll eventually get through and back to where she is. Luckily now also another vehicle has joined us, and so when you've got two vehicles, much easier to be able to follow cats. When it's just one, it's a lot harder. It really makes life difficult. So I'll just have to catch up with her. Of course now Rusty doesn't want to go into reverse. There we go. Rusty's got a nice little reverse gear problem at the moment where he doesn't like to be in reverse. Alrighty. Don't know how we're going to do this, but we're going to try. See if we can get ourselves through all of this. Now some of you might be wondering, certain trees drive over and certain trees we avoid. So bush willows particularly are very flexible trees, and so when you drive over them it looks like you're mowing them down, but actually when you come back later they've popped straight back up again and they are back to their normal sort of state. So try and kind of look for those, especially younger trees. Younger trees generally are very pliable. The older trees get a little bit kind of harder and less bendy, and so they break rather than bend. But you try and kind of angle through without actually getting into any trees. But now where's she gone? You see her, BK? Somewhere here in front. I don't see her at the moment. That's not to say that she isn't just somewhere close by. There's a little thicket between us and another clearing. Ah, there she is. Oh, and we can get a view of her face. Hello, beautiful girl. Oh, I've missed this cat. Probably the cat I've missed the most. For those of you that are fairly new and don't know, I've been following this cat since 2000 and end of 2010. So it's been 10 years of watching her, and have seen every single one of her babies as well as her mom's cubs, and her kind of life has been interesting. She's been in so many cool places and seen so many cool sightings with her that, I don't know, I've always just found her to be my absolute favorite of the females. She's feisty, she's tenacious as a mom, she catches things that are much bigger than what, you know, she is. So there's just something about her that I really enjoy, and so always love spending time with Thandi. I know she's difficult, I know she's hard to find, I know she's, like I say, can be grumpy and can be a bit snarly at times, but I think that adds the charm of her kind of general thing. She's, for me, in a way, quite a wild kind of cat, and what a leopard should be in many respects. She's got that little bit of feistiness to her, which is cool. So I always really enjoy spending time with her, and like I say, obviously seeing her litters especially the ones previous to these, being the first ones to find those was really, really special. And so to have that privilege and that trust from a cat to be allowed to go and, to see her cubs at very young ages, it's a very special thing. So I always feel like I have this sort of bond with her, and from my side, it's not from her side, obviously. She doesn't probably care about me at all. Why would she? But, from my side, it's just so much time spent with her and so many amazing memories. Oh, all right. Whew. It's good arm workouts. Imagine in the days when there was no power steering, how difficult. Look at her, she's got her head just above the grass here. What you doing, silly girl? You're going through the thickest of thickest grass. Can you see the grass moving? Oh, she's pretty. I mean, she is starting to show her age a little bit now. You can see her ears are getting a bit tatty. But she's still a beautiful, beautiful cat, and got that really rich gold coloured coat. I always think that her side of the family has got a really beautiful colour to them. Same as Kalamba. All right, we're going to keep up with her. She's still moving, obviously. She's still wandering about. Hopefully she'll find herself a meal this morning. And while we do that, we're going to send you up to andBeyond and Ngala and the lions.
So, listen, roaring. But this Rasmal is angry, in a very bad mood. He just attacked his brother. You can actually hear him growling. And all of this is just a territorial display. So now, he nearly stepped into a female. She's angry with him now. So the lion that you could hear roaring was probably a female, still down in the riverbed. But, this Rasmal is just always in a bad mood. Don't really know why. But it's funny that he went straight and he attacked his brother rather than going for the young male who's literally lying down right next to us. But so what he did was he approached and he went towards the young male first of all. Sorry, earlier in a position like that. He went towards the young male first of all, and then just changed direction and shifted it to his brother. But I think his brother was lying a little bit too close to one of the females, which he didn't like. Jealous brother. I think the female down at the bottom, she might have just started roaring to try to distract him. Now he's gone back to there. Vanilla wants to know, why do lions roar? Vanilla, a lot of the time, so lions are territorial, and their roar tells other lions that this is their territory and they should not come in here because they'll be ready to fight them. Or sometimes they roar in order to find each other. So it's like you sending a GPS location to your friend and say, this is where I am, can you meet me? Basically what the lion roar does for them. He's just intently looking down into the river. That's strange, he was following one of the lionesses around earlier. Almost like he's ready to mate with her, but of course she's not in estrus yet because she has still 2 young cubs with her, about 1.5 years old, or just over a year and 8 months now. They're not ready to mate at all, yet he was following her around quite intently. Just come up and disrupted all the peace here. So earlier I got asked how many lions we have around us. I counted 14. Now we found the other Rasmal when we came up here, so there's 15 lions here in total of the of the Birmingham Pride, which now consists of 18 lions, if you include the lioness and her 2 new youngsters. So, trying to move my head out the way and see the young male every now and then just looking back towards the Ross male. Ross male is turning around. He doesn't know what to do. Lisa's asking if we ever get nervous that the lions will lash out at us. Lisa, no. I've never been nervous of that. You know, for now, we've never presented a threat. You know, when they eat, it's not like we're going to drive the vehicle right onto the carcass and present a threat that way either. And when they do fight, we don't position ourselves in such a way where we'll get in the middle of the fight. So no, I don't think, I've never felt threatened that a lion would lash out at me at all. Although you never know with this Ross male, he's always in one constant state of bad mood. I wonder what he's thinking. He keeps looking back at where his brother is. I can't see his brother now. I think he's somewhere behind us. You can hear a soft moan from down in the riverbed. And one of the lionesses. Also, not all of the youngsters came up to the bank. So we thought with the mothers coming up, they would all come. Oh, it looks like he might lie down. He's looking in the direction of his brother. Quite an intimidating looking male. Mallie's life wants to know how many hours do lions sleep. Mallie, I think majority of the books will tell you about 20 hours. You know, I don't think sleep, but like snooze and laze around, probably 20 hours. Where they'd walk and roar and, well, so now it's only this Ross male that is actually being active. The rest of them are lazing around, so I wonder if that is included in that 20 hours. Which are about 4 hours out of the day active, then 20 hours inactive and sleepy. Just gonna sit here and watch what this Ross male is up to. I'm moving next to the termite marsh, just behind the bush now. So I'm not gonna move. Don't want to disrupt anything. Let's see where he goes. The young male has dipped his head and he's put his ears down, almost like in a submissive way. But the Ross male isn't really looking at him. Okay. He's doing a territorial thing where he's urinating and his hind legs are scuffing through the grass. Okay, so we're going to sit here, see what drama unfolds, but for now I'll send you back over to Tristan with his leopard.
Well, we had a bit of drama outside. Sandy was trying to hunt impalas, but unfortunately she was eventually spotted. The ram saw her and the alarm called at her, and so now she's back on the move again. She wasn't close though. She was about 60 meters from them, which isn't close enough for her to strike, and so that's why we weren't too worried about it at that point. But she's coming back onto the road. I'm going to try quickly just shoot in front of her here, BK, so we can get a really nice walk by of her coming past us. All things equal, as they say. She's just scent marking there, BK, so she should come past us. I'm just going to stop right here. Isn't that cool? Hello, beautiful girl. Nicola, look, I mean, at the end of the day, our cars potentially could be a hindrance. She suckled the cubs this morning, by the way. You can see how matted her fur is, and still wet. But it could be a hindrance, given that we kind of clang over trees and bash trees a little bit. That part of it can be a hindrance. But what we did there when she was walking, as soon as we saw the impala, which was before her actually, we stopped immediately and we stopped off-roading. So we had a very poor visual of her and the impalas, but the idea is to just stop and not make any noise any further and just sit quietly, and that allows then her to kind of catch up with the impalas and be able to kind of hunt them without us interfering. But often I'll, particularly in the evenings, if I come across a leopard like this and she's a little bit hungry, just try and let her go and not actually follow her through thickets, just because we do in some way disrupt. Oh, there's fresh leopard tracks. Do in some way disturb her. In saying that, though, some females have worked out how to use the vehicles as an aid. So her grandmother, Safari, she learned very quickly how to use vehicles in order to help her hunting. So what she used to do is she used to see things and she just used to lie down flat in the grass, so you could hardly. And so guides and guests would be like, oh, we can't see, we need to start the car to get closer. So she was using the cover of the sound as well as the movement of the car to attract attention to the car itself, and then she would hunt from there, which was absolutely amazing to watch. She was incredibly good at doing it, and she caught a lot of the newer guides out doing it, because you obviously try and not allow that kind of behavior, but she caught many new guides out as soon as they would turn their car, and she would move and catch things and all kinds of other stuff. So they can use it, but generally it would be considered more a hindrance than a help. It's why we try and kind of just follow with a respectful distance. Don't try and drive too close to them, so that way if there is prey items in front, that they're able to see it and we can stop. So you can see from here, if we saw, let's say, an impala now, we just stop right now. Even though our view is really poor, we would try and just kind of give her the chance to get a little bit closer. Rusty, you're full of squeaks today. It's cold. Rusty's still cold. But you can see how she can be quite tricky to find. You notice how she spent very little time on the road. So we've gone onto the road for a brief 2-minute period, basically, that she's walked down, and then it's back into the thickets she goes. And this is typical of Thandi when she's hunting. This is how she does it. She actually likes to walk and flush things. So even a duiker, if it runs from her, is fair game, because then what she knows is she watches where it runs to, and then she starts to work her way through back closer to it, and then keeps an eye on it. And a lot of her hunting strategy is smaller animals now. When she was a lot younger, she used to hunt big things. I remember her once having a fully grown female kudu kill on Chitwa Driveway, very close to where we had Kuchava and not Ned a few days ago on that kill. And she lost that, and then she used to kill big Ngala, big adult male impalas, and she lost a lot of kills to hyenas. And I think she's learned that smaller kills, one, is it attracts less attention from hyenas. Two, she can eat them and move on pretty quickly and not get caught out by lions and things like that. So she's clever in that regard. And it's now the reason why we hardly ever see her with impala kills. Even watching her now with those male impalas, she saw them, but she didn't really commit wholeheartedly to actually hunting them. She just watched them in the distance, and she kind of flattened her head a little bit, but not really going after them. She's looking for smaller things like duikers, where she can actually pick them up and carry them off and go and sort of, you see her? What are you doing in there, girl? Looking for duikers is what you're doing. I can see it. Scrub hares, that's another thing that she likes to grab a lot of. Isn't that cool? It'll never get old when you see a leopard walk past you like that. Very cool. been spoiled this morning, and she's been actually very well behaved. She hasn't taken us in a horrible place. She could have taken us into a few areas where we wouldn't have been able to follow her, but she's actually stuck to a fairly decent little thread or line that we've been able to kind of keep up with her through it. So it's been good. Where she's heading now is a little bit more tricky. She's going to be heading into a place where our signal is very, very bad. So when she goes down into the Ngala Road drainage, it gets a little bit of a problem. So that's not ideal. But if she crosses over that, then it'll be okay. But if she walks in it, we're going to have a bit of a problem. There we go. So Kaylin, age 10, who's always asking very pertinent questions. She's asking, what is about leopards? That's my absolute favorite. You can hear the Franklins. So Franklin's just got a little bit of a fright from her. What is my absolute favorite thing, or what makes me like leopards, is leopards, for me, are these incredible solitary creatures that survive in an ecosystem that so many others would really, really struggle to survive in. They have a tough life. Being on their own, having to raise cubs by themselves is really, really not easy. It's not something that a lot of animals get right. So that, coupled with the incredible spot pattern that they've got, I mean, they are absolutely beautiful animals. When you look at them, you realize this is just an incredibly beautiful thing. And that coupled with their sort of nature, where they are able to sneak around and go unnoticed and hide in pretty much plain sight, is part of the sort of reasons that I like them. Come on. There we go. Dead trees. Now to find where she went. No, she walked towards the left here, but let's just try to go forward and see which way she's gone. This is the problem when it takes a bit of time to get through a little thicker area, and you often lose them quite fast. So this is the other side of why I like them, is that they are sneaky and can, like I say, if they don't want to be found or seen, they may just disappear on you in 2 seconds. Unfortunately, this area is just so dense and so thick. This is going to make it really tough. You can also feel my steering rod is not great at this stage. It's taken a little bit of a pounding. So it's not completely bent, but it's definitely not straight, that's for sure. All right, I'm going to try and find her again. She's obviously given us the little Tundi slip. So we're just going to have a little look for her. In the meantime, let's send you back across to David, who's got another spotted animal, but a much larger one. There she is.
Super exciting about Tundi. That is such good news. We've really had a lovely string of leopard sightings, haven't we? Well done to Tristan. And we do have another spotted animal. Just around the corner here we should run into a tower of giraffes. Some people call it a journey of giraffes. Anyway, there's a bunch of giraffes. Giraffe or giraffes, I'm not sure. And seeing as we are on a birding morning, we notice there's oxpeckers on its neck. There's an oxpecker just in the middle of its neck. Might fly off now that it's moved. No, still there on its back. You might notice that little bird. There it goes. So birding and mammaling. Got giraffe and oxpecker together. There's a youngster. Nice to see such a large group of giraffe. Layla, age 8, you've asked a really interesting question. Do we get a lot of giraffes struck by lightning? It's a very good question. Makes sense, doesn't it? They are very tall, often taller than the trees. So one would think that they would be susceptible to lightning strikes, and I have read about it, I've heard about it, I've never seen it. I suppose it's obviously quite rare, but I'm sure it does happen. There they go, into the bush. Luckily no storms brewing, so they should be safe from lightning at the moment. Very cool. Well, we did hear some elephant that away, so we're going to carry on and see if we can find them while we carry on with our burning. See what other cool birds you could find, but it sounds like Tristan and his robot tracking skills have managed to relocate Thandi. Let's go have a look.
I've managed to relocate Thandi. Not that it required much tracking. Kind of spotted her on the mound as we were driving through, but it was definitely following her has come at a cost. Our steering rod is bent, which means that the maneuverability of Rusty has been compromised slightly, but that's okay. It's still drivable and still fine. We'll get through the drive, no problem, and they're fairly easy to change, so fix it when we get back to camp. But yeah, nice to kind of keep up with her. We had 2 African hawk eagles fly over at one point. No, Branch, why are you on my car now? Off. So sometimes you get a branch that sticks to the underside of the car, and then you'll hear that clack, 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 clack sound, which is just the branch hitting the undercarriage. And so you've got to reverse a little bit, and that often then spits the branch back out again, which is quite nice. Alrighty. Thandi? Do we have to go through the thickest of thickest bush areas? When we're off air, she just walks beautifully in the open, stops. As soon as we go on air again, she finds the thickest place to walk. It's quite funny, actually. Sorry, BK. And there she goes. Let's see if we can catch up with her. Sorry, BK. It's not easy for BK as well. It's a thick area. So. Alrighty, Thandi, where are we off to actually? Where are you going? She's going down towards the drainage line now, but I wonder if she's just going to go and look for a new place to take her cubs. That'll be interesting. Be worth checking here over the next couple days just to see if she brings the cubs across once she goes down towards this dense side. Steering rod is just bending more and more. Debbie, she's not trying, she's successfully succeeding in sending Rusty to the garage. Rusty is definitely going to be going to the garage fairly soon. In fact, as soon as we get home from drive, Rusty's going to the garage. Because I can feel the steering rod is just getting worse and worse. The more we're driving, the harder it's getting, particularly turning right. It's pulled the right tire right in, so it touches the wheel arch. So you'll hear a horrible noise every time I turn right, so I do apologize. But it's okay, we can still carry on with her, which is good. She's so dainty when she walks. I always love the female leopard's gait. They have this little kind of high stepping back feet, and you can see it's almost like they're very careful about where they place their feet and what they do with them. And particularly her in Kalamba, they have these kind of high-waisted back legs, and there's just these little dainties that walk along. Just listening to impalas rutting. Isn't it peaceful just watching her walk through the bush, the sounds of the birds calling. So nice. What a wonderful way to spend a day. Right, now we're going to try and keep up with her. It's part of the reason why I'm trying to kind of keep her on my left side is because it's much easier to turn left than it is right at this stage. It makes it easier to kind of position the car. Okay, branches, stop attacking us. Okay, I'm going to try and keep up with her. I'm not sure how much longer we're actually going to be able to follow her for once she gets down towards the drainage. In the meantime, though, let's send you across to Swalu, Kalahari, and the Meerkats. Seems like they're out and about for the morning. Right, as you can see, we caught up with Thandi. Sorry, I was just busy on the radio, and unfortunately Swalu's got a bit of a tech issue, so they're going to sort that out. And we were just trying to get somebody else into the sighting, so just trying to tell them where to go. But she's posing beautifully, isn't she, on this little mound? You can see the little bit of light catching her chin, the little white chin that they've got. Always like when they get backlit. Hello, beautiful girl. Yeah, go ahead. No worries. Thanks, Sean. It's been good having you guys around. So as you can see, she walks right past the car when she wants to sometimes. Hello, girl. Really, really nice to spend time with you again. You are difficult to find, but you're certainly worth it when you do. I think that's part of the charm of her, is that you know you have to work hard to get consistent sightings of her. And that you never really know what you're going to get. You might get the relaxed Thandi that's happy for you just to follow behind nicely, or you're going to get the Thandi that doesn't want to be seen, or you're going to get the grumpy Thandi, or you're going to get these amazing sightings of her with cubs. It's just crazy the kind of differences that you get with her. I think that's the best part, is that she just keeps you on your toes constantly. All right, let's catch up. The good news is it's fairly open going down this hill before we get to the drainage line. After that, though, however, it then becomes a whole another story. So that's where it's going to become difficult for us and driving. But I think we've had a really decent amount of time with her anyway, so if that does happen, it's okay. This is Aardvark Central. Which way did she go? She headed off in this general direction. 2 o'clock. Okay, let's gotta go around this quickly. Alright, so I'm going to try to catch up with her. She's already kind of lost me a little bit, so I'll try to get to where she is. In the meantime, though, let's send you across to David, who's got a bird of prey that often responds to carcasses that leopards have.
Beautiful bird of prey it is. This is a Battelier eagle, a male Battelier eagle to be precise. You can see that by the darker bottom. Female will have whiter or lighter feathers on the primaries when perched. This male has a darker base, I could put it that way. Just like in flight, more black under the wing. I think possibly the most beautiful bird of prey that we have out here. That striking red beak. It was aptly named when given its Latin name, which refers to the beauty of its face. Pickled Graham, you've commented rough feathers. They do look a bit ruffled, hey? As Tristan was saying, these birds often respond to carcasses or kills. Excellent eyesight, excellent vision, and they are often the first ones to indicate a carcass on the ground. So vultures and other birds of prey will often watch them, keep an eye on where they go, where they land. Kathy saying it's watching us, watching it. It does feel like it's kind of got a look on us out of the corner of its eye. Look at that sharp beak. I can imagine that thing could do some damage. Safari Steve, you commenting how stunning this Battlier is. It really is beautiful. It must be my favorite bird of prey to spend time with. And it's lovely to get such a close-up look. Often we just see them flying far overhead. But to be so close to it is always special, especially in this beautiful morning sunlight, this golden light. As it's perched at the top of that knobthorn. It's not the only bird in the tree though. There's a couple hornbill down to its bottom right. So lots of bird life out this morning. Alex and I are thoroughly enjoying our spot of birding. There's a yellow-billed hornbill, the flying banana. Just spectacular. Well, it sounds like Swallow Kalahari is awake. Let's send you over to them. Oh, before we do that, let's just quickly enjoy seeing this Battlier flex a little bit. It opens its wing. That was cool to see. I believe the Meerkats are out in Swallow Kalahari, so let's send you over to them, see what's happening.
Yeah, apologies for the comms break up there a little bit earlier. There's obviously some weird interference going on here. But yeah, so these little guys got up about five minutes ago and are just starting to get some sun. There's one just in front of me that keeps looking behind me. So I don't know if there's actually some kind of animal further behind me that it's been keeping tabs on. But you never know what rocks up. Their eyesight is so good. I actually sat with these, a different group, actually the Makalas. I sat with them a number of years ago and they were all staring and giving alarm calls. But in the far distance, I grabbed my binoculars, I couldn't see anything. And about 10 minutes later, a martial eagle appeared. And these meerkats had been sitting watching that martial eagle, where I was completely unaware of its presence, even with binoculars. So their eyesight is exceptionally good. And to aid that eyesight, they actually use vantage points. So they'll climb up trees, and so they keep a better watch out on, for predators and that. Kim, yeah, they are certainly amazing little animals, these are. Just so cute and so interesting. I mean, there's just so many aspects of their life cycle that is awesome. Just one is walking it's just walked right past Yandre. So Anthony has just asked a fascinating question, and one that's puzzled us for a long time is, how deep underground do these burrows go? A number of years ago, actually the WildEarth crew was here, and they actually brought in some ground-penetrating radar. It actually looks like a lawnmower with this weird little contraption on it, and on these taller wheels. And you just push it slowly, obviously when the meerkats are away from the burrows, and you just push it slowly up and down over the burrow system. You don't do any damage whatsoever, but that builds up this profile of the burrow system underground and how they linked, how deep they go, that kind of thing. And you tend to find that they don't go very deep, these small burrows, probably a max of about a meter and a half. If you're looking at temperature regulation, at about 50 centimeters under the soil, under the sand, your temperature becomes fairly stable. And that would vary depending on what time of the year it is. Obviously winter it's going to be cooler, summer it's going to be warmer. But it stays within a pretty stable range down there. So anything deeper than 50 centimeters, you're not going to have to worry about huge temperature fluctuations. And then it's obviously the energy expenditure side of it. What is the point in digging a burrow down to 10 meters deep if you don't need to go down to that depth? So I think it's kind of like finding that balance on a very, very soft substrate to say, well, okay, you need to dig down below a certain level in order that the burrows don't collapse easily. But you also don't want to waste so much energy digging down to depth that you actually don't need to get to in terms of thermoregulation in it. That one's scratching. Margaret, meerkats do have midden sites throughout their territory, as well as just using the loo wherever they are. So those midden sites are not as prominent as some other species. I mean, if you look at things like a genet, for example, which is a completely different little animal, but they use very, very, very prominent midden sites, and you can go and say, okay, gee, she has like a whole big pile of genet droppings, and that midden can be used successively for years and years and years on end. So meerkat middens are going to be a lot less distinct, and if I actually see one out here, I'll point it out to you. But yeah, they definitely use middens as well as going intermittently. Those middens are very, very important, as it essentially acts like a big post box. So any other meerkat moving into this area, it could be a young dispersal male, or it could be a different clan or troop coming in. It's like, whoa, okay, geez, there's good signs of other meerkats here. We're going to move away from the spot, or be very, very careful around here. If you look at things like, let's use rhino as an example. In areas where rhinos occur, they use these big middens, and as a post box service, that's brilliant because, one rhino moving into an area could look and say, well, ooh, okay, this is an area of a territorial bull, so I'm gonna kind of go very, very cautiously as a young bull. Or, it's actually a female that, that's ready to mate with. I can start following up on those tracks. So middens are super important as scent sites for territorial advertising. So that one that Yandre was focused on, it just looked up, and we just had two starlings that flew over super fast, and that meerkat picked up onto them straight away. Sheila, their posture is very good, and I must just say, probably a lot better than my posture. So, wow, look at this one coming. It's coming in to investigate Yandre there. I think it's looking at Yandre's posture and saying, well, perhaps your posture could do with some honing. Sweet. Yeah, this is fantastic. This is just brilliant. They're now sitting at a little bolt hole just behind Yandre, two of them, and looking at some of the equipment there. Wow, this is so special. Oh, there's actually three of them. I just see the third one there now. And I don't believe the old adage of curiosity killed the cat. In fact, I think just the opposite. I think curiosity, inquisitiveness, is actually what helps things survive in the bush. And you must just think, when something this size, like a meerkat, you're on the menu for a lot of other predators out there. And curiosity and being inquisitive about your surroundings helps you understand and learn about your surroundings, which in turn helps you stay alive a lot longer. Good lessons for all of us. Just not in terms of survival necessarily, but just always be curious. Never stop learning. And no one has all the answers. Our colleagues down in the Lowveld, they're following amazing leopard and hyena sightings. We don't know all the answers to what's out here. But the important thing is just observe nature, be inquisitive, ask questions. Well, why is the meerkat doing this? Why does it do this? Why is the hole that depth? Why did it climb that tree? Why didn't it climb the other tree? Why did it scratch under that log? Why is it making that sound? Why is it running in that direction and not in that direction? The list is absolutely endless. But as long as we keep asking questions and trying to understand these environments and making mistakes along as we go, because, if you look at the research that one does, and we've got fantastic research going on swallow, and we'll chat about that over time. You just find that you learn about research, and then you just realize, well, not all research is accurate. And, the more you understand an animal, you'll start realizing, well, okay, so we made some mistakes along the line, and what we thought was right 10 years ago may not necessarily be the correct answer. And that's what makes it so exciting. There's just so much we can learn about this. Yes, this is brilliant. There's definitely something behind me. Melanie, Martin, is feeling well today. Although Melanie's teeth seem to be folding in a little bit. I think it's probably from sleeping on the Land Rover at night in sub-zero temperatures. You see Melanie has arms now. I don't know if any of you noticed that yesterday. Melanie has arms. We did give her some legs, but then her legs didn't work so well. But Melanie's well. We'll keep tabs on Melanie. She says hi, by the way. And just so, you see there's hardly a breath of wind this morning either. Oh, a nice good stretch there. As you can watch these guys for hours and hours and hours on end. They're actually going over to all our equipment. I think they're doing a they're doing an inventory and they're checking if it's up to their standard. Well, while they're doing an inventory check on what we've got, I think head over to Ngala and Robin and the lions.
I'm just opening all the messages. You should get one of these just for phone calls. Actually, you should. Everyone should have a phone like this, Brie. That when you go out, that's all you have on you.
If you get robbed, it's $200.
Yeah. No. But you can phone. Yeah, 100%.
Welcome back. Alex and I are still on our birding mission. Remember, like I said, South Africa, we say missions. That's our game plan. And we are still on that game plan. It's still nice and cold though. I haven't even taken my gloves off yet, so the birds are kind of also just sitting in the sunshine. All the birds we found are still trying to warm up in their roosts. Haven't seen too much activity this morning, but it makes it nice for birding. Just kind of find them sitting there, frozen, not doing much. So it has been an epic morning. So much going on in the bush. And what's so fascinating, if you stop and think about it, is as much as we've seen, there's tenfold going on around us that we don't even know. The roads out here are 1% of the property. If you take the surface area versus the actual bush itself, you know, the footprint of the roads is it's nothing compared to the grades of property, and we only really have this to work with. Yeah, sometimes we go off-road into the block, but pretty much we're sticking to the roads, trying to use our eyes first and foremost to spot things, and we occasionally get a glimpse of a leopard or elephant or what have you. But think how much actually goes on that we miss. I think if I knew how many leopard I've driven past in my life that were just off the road or just out of view, maybe hidden in the grass, looking at you, I think it would be shocking to know just how many times that has happened. But luckily, we do find them quite often. And on the note of predators, let's send you over to Ngala with their lion.
So we decided to leave the angry male up on the bank, and we came down to all the youngsters, and you can see very peaceful situation down here in the river. All of them are now sleeping. A little bit earlier they were playing around, and yeah, and then we apologize for that. I think our cell phone signal dropped, and then the call dropped, so I couldn't actually hear Landeko in my ear. So what we decided to do is on the little phone is just to read through all the inbox messages in the meantime. But as you can see with the lions, all of them are just sleepy now. This is where the 20 hours of sleep starts for the day, and I do not think they're going to move the entire day. Might be interrupted a little bit or disrupted a little bit later with elephants coming to drink from the water here or something like that, but I think they have found their spot for the day. So even this afternoon, they'll be in the vicinity of this area. So some of the adults and the young male and both the Ross males are still up on the bank on the other side, but there's been no more fighting. I think the Ross male just fell asleep now, probably giving someone a dirty eye in his dreams, but all of them now sleepy, very, very sleepy. Looks quite comfy. You can see all of them move to the sun, and so what we decided is also to move into the sun and sit here and just warm up a little bit. Turning to be quite a nice day now, warming up quite nicely. They look very comfy. you wish you could go cuddle in there with them. I think there's a lot of body heat going around. I think what we might do in a bit is let them be and then continue down the river, see if the other lioness is there. Patricia wants to know, how do lions get rid of ticks? So Patricia, you'll find that lions actually groom themselves quite often, and they've got very rough tongues. So that way they could actually lick ticks off themselves, or other lions might actually groom them and lick them as well. Sometimes you'll find them biting into the skin a little bit to just try get hold of the hair and then pull it out. But other times you'll see massive ticks still on the lions. And I think you saw, maybe a little bit earlier, you saw on the fur of the white lion how the dots were on their little blood dots. And that's also a lot of ticks being scratched out. So yeah, licking, scratching, and allo grooming, or social grooming, between the lions. See, when the heat comes, how all the animals just get so lazy, especially the nocturnal sort of animals. So it'd be interesting to see what they do this afternoon, because as I said, they ate a kudu last night. So Owen and Eric witnessed it quite a time after the drive ended. But I mean, watching them walk around, you could see not all of them look fat. Both the Ross mouse looked like they ate quite a bit. The young male looked like he ate quite a bit, but the rest of them look rather skinny. So I think even tonight they'll try and hunt something. But I think they've found their spot for the day. So what we're going to do is leave them here and then go along the southern bank of the Timbabati River and see if the other lioness is around with her youngsters, with her cubs. If not, we'll look for anything else that's interesting to show. Adele was asking, have I ever dozed off while watching sleeping animals? Adele, no, not yet. So usually we have 6 guests in the back with us that would be asking a lot of questions. So then what happens is there's never time to doze off. I think maybe Sean Marshall probably would have dozed off before. We were talking about it earlier, and his spirit animal is probably a lion. He could happily sleep for 20 hours during the day. But myself, no, I've never dozed off while watching a sleeping animal. We have to keep everyone entertained. Obviously, often, even if you do speak to yourself, you think other people are listening. But speaking of dozing, let's let them snooze, and then we're going to carry on. Okay, so let's leave these lions, let them be, and then I'm going to send you over to Twalu, Kalahari, with their meerkats.
So the meerkats have moved off the group. They actually, as you saw, they went out past the equipment heading southeast. There is still a babysitter in these burrows over here. As she did yesterday, she'll go down, come up during the course of the day. But while we're looking at meerkats, just sitting in the sand here, it was the absolute craziest thing. I've got a fairly strong interest in archaeology. I like a lot of things, but archaeology. And so while I'm sitting here running my hands to the sand, this is what we come up with. Tiny little stone flake. Okay, this is razor sharp, and that edge is insanely sharp, and this is what is known as a microlith. Lithic from rocks and micro small, so it's a small stone, but this has been actually worked. So this is a stone tool. So this has actually been worked, and you'd have to know what you're looking at, but along this top edge you can actually see there's multiple chipping points all along this edge over here. Okay, so it's been it's been reworked, it's been touched up and reworked. And this would have been used, this is what we call late Stone Age. So this is the more recent stuff, say 40,000 years through to the present. We've got a lot of artifacts on Swalu going back right to the early Stone Age, 2 million to 1.8 million years ago, right through to stone tools of this kind of timeline. This could even go up to 2,000 years ago. But this is incredible, and I'm absolutely gobsmacked that we found this lying out on the sand over here. The chance of actually finding something like this out here is just absolutely off the charts. So Megan has just commented that it looks like glass, and it actually is. This is very, very, very close to glass. It's got an extremely high silica content. It's actually a kind of chalcedony, so it's super hard. It flakes with razor sharp edges, and this would have been certainly moving towards the late Stone Age. This would have been the ideal material in these environments to make stone tools from. I'm just blown away that this is here. So the immediate thing that comes to mind for me is, okay, well, what else is out here? Is there a layer underneath this dune sand of artifacts? And was this dug out of one of these meerkat burrows when they're doing burrow maintenance or excavating? Or has it moved downslope? That maybe there's an archaeological site somewhere on one of these dune crests over here, and over thousands and thousands of years, just trampling and movement of game has actually moved this little artifact down here. But then I would expect to find more artifacts lying around here, which I'm not seeing. So there's just, or maybe this was even dropped. Maybe someone was moving through this landscape. One of our ancestors was moving through this landscape and dropped this little artifact. Maybe they caught something around here and they actually chipped an artifact out, made a stone tool, prepared or dressed a carcass, and then they moved on and this was left behind. Who knows? But what stories this minuscule little stone flake can tell, I would give anything to know that. Over the coming weeks, I'm going to do my absolute best to show you some awesome archaeological sites on Swalu. And I'd welcome any questions on that. I'm not an archaeologist, I'm not an expert in the field, but it'll be fun to try to find out and to answer questions if we get any. But it just shows the human history in these landscapes is deep and rich. And wow, that's all I can say about that is wow. Just shows, eh? A lot out here to learn, eh? Well, we reminisce on early humanity in these environments. And Yandra and I are going to grab a cup of coffee. Head over to Ngala and see what's up with those lions.
So we thought we were going to drive the southern bank towards her den and then go look if she's out. Turns out we had to drive 150 meters from the rest of the pride further west, and here she is with both her youngsters. So I got asked earlier, when is this lioness going to introduce the new cubs to the pride? And I wonder if they've not already met, or today's going to be the day. Because literally it is 150, maybe 200 meters between this lioness and her cubs and the pride. So she wasn't here earlier when we just got here with all the lions roaring in the riverbed. Then when we went up and watched the rice mouths fighting with each other, she wasn't here. When we came down again to the youngsters in the riverbed before they fell asleep, she wasn't here. It's only now when we were driving out that we noticed this lioness laying in the riverbed. And so from afar I saw her lying down and I thought, oh, it looked like crested francolin, moving around in front of her, and turns out to put 2 little lion cubs. So here they are. I think the day has come, if the pride hasn't met them already. See the little male is in front and the female at the back, but both eyes just focused on us. And cute little faces. Definitely still in the very cute cub phase. The older youngsters, well, the ones that are now just over, 20 months or so, they've definitely starting to lose that cub phase. It's only the little white she's starting to bite her sister or her brother on the bum. Here we go. Get more comfortable. A little paw on mom's leg. Lisa is commenting, that face, and yes, look, is getting more curious and curious, but trying to get over mom's leg, which is of course bigger than he is, so a bit of a hurdle. Oh wow, that's so cute. And Deka's saying they're looking at us, wondering who we are. They know us quite well, and I must say, with the amount of time we've spent with them and around them already, it's so nice to see how relaxed they are with the vehicle. But we noticed the other day that if they come too close to the vehicle, mom calls them back. She gives a contact call, and she doesn't want them to get this close to the vehicle. So there's a definite warning every single time. And see how they're just trying to take it all in. So rather still quite new to them. But I think maybe in a little bit they'll get curious, come even closer. I don't know if he's uncomfortable in the position he is or if he wants to come closer. Of course, I'm talking about the one on the left. He's a slight bit lighter than his sister. And I don't know if I'm imagining it, but it looks like his head is already a little bit bigger. See the eyes wide open. First time I saw them, it was, strange enough, it was the sister that was more curious. And she was the one coming out of the grass sooner and sooner. But then it's like their personality shifts. I often see it with leopard cubs as well. One's more shy, the other one's more confident. And then after a few months, it switches around. The little sister's falling asleep in the sun. The eyes are getting smaller and smaller and smaller. So I wonder when the mom fetched him, because she was eating with the rest of the pride. So maybe she went and fetched him this morning, and now just decided to move the den to this side. Quite a nice area. Also right on the bank of the Timbavati, so very, very thick vegetation. I mean, there's a massive buffalo thorn with thick grass growing right behind her. It'd be quite a nice spot for a den, because the youngsters would be very, very safe in there, except for like maybe a mongoose. That, I still think a mongoose got hold of the tip of his tail. That's why it's bare. Luckily it is still a black tip. He's still very, very, very curious. Okay, it seems that our signal is quite bad here, so we're going to send you over to David on Djuma.
We just stopped here at Buffelshoek Dam. Spending some time with these hippos, enjoying the bird life. Lots of swifts cruising around over the water. Wonder if you can see them there in the monitor. Lots of activity here. This is a great spot for a bit of birding. Catching insects on the wing. Trying to see what swifts are here. I see common swifts. I thought I saw a black swift as well. Sometimes hard to tell because they fly so fast. Very, very cool. Hippos are just chilling. Viewers are commenting, you're all saying it's just beautiful. It is a lovely place to sit. Goes in theme with our birding morning. Ooh, there's another hippo. Looks like there's a handful there. That looks cold. What's there at the back? That's interesting. Let's see if we can identify this bird. Does anyone know what it could be? I'm gonna get my binoculars out. On the bank there. Hopefully it sticks around. Anyone know what this bird could be? That's very interesting. Like I said, it would be nice to identify some birds this morning that we don't see too often. And Peter, you've come back very quickly with the answer: pied wagtail. Very cool. Not a bird commonly seen around here. Looks like it's picking on something along the bank there. Can't see what insect it's going for. Wild cave, asked do hippos and crocs share territories peacefully, or waterholes or dams peacefully? And they do. They live together in relative harmony. Every now and then there'll be an incident where there's a bit of a scrap. Perhaps if a mother hippo's got a newborn and a large crocodile thinks he might be able to make a meal of it, that has been recorded before. In which case, the mother would definitely win that one, hurt the crocodile. But over the most part, they live together in relative harmony out here. They don't compete for food, which is generally the primary reason that animals don't get along. This is just a lovely spot to sit. All these swifts, and that wagtail. There's lots of other bird life around the bank. Blacksmith lapwings and little grebes, all doing their thing, playing their part in the ecosystem. I see it looks like a terrapin's come out on the rock there to sunbathe. Way down there at the end. Warming up this morning. What a lovely morning at Buffelshoek Dam, and as always, we are only out here because of your contribution, so please follow that link at the bottom of the screen and continue to support us in what we do to bring you this magnificence of nature. We appreciate it. That terrapin must have had a cold evening in the water, soaking up the sun. Well, it sounds like Tristan is back out and about, also enjoying some hippo, so let's send you over to him for an update.
We are enjoying some hippos. Unfortunately, we had to leave Tundi. Rusty's really not doing well enough to be off-roading with her anymore, and so we left her still moving with another vehicle. So we'll try go back this afternoon and find her at some point. But really, really nice. You saw BK for a second there was showing you little swifts that were flying around. And then we had Dewey the hippo, who was also here. We've got lots of our little grebes milling about as well. So lots happening at this stage at the dam. We, like I say, slowly limping our way home, which is why we were sort of just stopped here. And we thought we'd just update you guys before we head home. For the morning to go and fix Rusty. It won't take too long to fix him. Like I say, steering rods are not the most difficult thing, and we've done them many times before. Now, BK, on the far end of the dam, is it a bushbuck or a Ngala that's walking around there? It looks like maybe a bushbuck. We don't see bushbuck very often at all, so I'm wondering whether or not it is a bushbuck. Oh, hello, bushbuck. So you can see it's right up against the little fence that stops animals going into Vuyatela camp, which is on the dam. But nice to see a male bushbuck. I haven't seen a bushbuck in ages, and typically here in this particular part of the Sabi Sands, the only place you see them on Djuma is actually really close to the camp. They use the camp in order to hide away from leopards. Leopards love a bushbuck, and so they try and kind of use the areas where people inhabit and the fences and those kind of things to stay safe. This one's obviously on the outside of that, so it's not in the safe zone, but they easily jump these things and find their ways in. So, little bushbuck, you must stay safe. But it's an interesting color for this particular male. Most male bushbuck take on a very dark brown, so much like what you'd see with a Ngala. But this fella is almost like a female in coloration. It's quite a sort of rusty brown color. Which is quite strange. You don't typically see them as light as that very often at all. Nice sized bushbuck, for sure. Big horns. Lindek is laughing at the fact that I called it a rusty brown color, given that rusty is the car we're driving as well. But it's true. It is a kind of, I don't know, how else would you describe that color? I feel like rusty brown is a good color description. But very peaceful at this dam this morning. It's kind of different to last night, where Dewey was having a little temper tantrum about the fact that there was buffalo here and an elephant, and he's much calmer this morning. I'm just having a little snooze. You can just see his nostrils disappearing. Alright, we're going to limp our way home and go and fix Rusty, so we probably won't see much of you guys until this afternoon. But in the meantime, I'm going to send you across to Swalu Kalahari. It sounds like they found themselves a little schnook.
So we're just checking up on this puff adder that we found yesterday close to the Hossa Meerkat burrow system. Yeah, and it's 150 yards or so. The Hossa Meerkat burrow system. Yeah, and it's 150 yards or so in the evening now. But the snake may actually have another plan. It's not just that it's sleeping or resting. It could actually be actively hunting. And what I mean by that is, it's an ambush predator. So it's lying in wait And yes, Crystal, this is super cool to see these. It's not often that you see them super well camouflaged. You can walk past a bush clump like this. When we followed these tracks yesterday, we went from clump to clump to clump and we couldn't see anything. And even when we sort of narrowed it down to this one, we were actually battling to find it. So yeah, they are really cool snakes. But in terms of their hunting strategy, there are some. Okay, we're gonna cut to Ngala. The lions are mobile, and then we'll come back to the snake. I've got some really interesting info on it. So head over to Ngala, see what they've got.
I think the mom actually just grew tired of both the youngsters. They were trying to drink from her, and of course I think their teeth are starting to come out and must be rather sharp now. So she's left them, and now you can see the way they're going. Both are heading towards her. So I'm just going to lean back so you don't get my cap in the camera, and then try and maneuver myself down so I don't block the view. But they are slowly but surely back on their way towards the mom, and she might give them a growl. Tiny little things. Oh yeah, I don't think I'm in your way, hey? I'm very comfortable. Thanks. Yeah. Not ready to approach the mom just yet. Yeah, slowly but surely. The young male is trying to play with the young female, biting her tail. Monkey wants to know if lions purr. Monkey, they do not. But imagine if they do, it would be like a tractor. But yeah. There we go, approaching mom. Might go for a bit of grooming. Of the big cats, it's only a cheetah that purrs. No, lions don't purr, leopards don't purr, jaguars don't purr. They've decided to leave mom alone, rather just play with each other. Seems like all the adult lions are in bad moods this morning. All the youngsters are in playful moods. She keeps looking to the left, and where we are now, we've noticed a lot of baboon tracks. So it's not a good thing, although, I mean, the pride, like I said, is behind us by about 150 meters. So any troop of baboons would be silly to come into this area at the moment. I guess there is a troop of baboons that we know of that live here. They come and they sleep in the large trees on the banks. Just to give an idea, I'm sprawled over the two front seats of the car trying to stay out of the view of the camera. Sultan saying that little tail is so cute. Sultan, I hope you're talking about the young male's tail, and he's missing the fur. So actually it's going to be an incredible identifying feature when he gets older. I wonder what's going to be his nickname. Probably someone's going to call him the spear tip male or something like that. I hope not. Fingers crossed it doesn't happen. But I can imagine there's going to be some ridiculous nickname for this young male if he grows up. Fingers crossed for that. Mom's still very, very aware of every single sound she can hear around her. You can see there's something, must be something scurrying in the grass on the southern bank where she's looking. She keeps staring in that direction. If it's any sign of danger, she would probably just make one sound, and these cubs will know. They'll run straight into the thick vegetation or thick bush on her right. Landeka says FC has named the cubs. I'm not going to repeat that on live television. But well done, Landeka. You'll owe us 2 cakes for that, because they're 2 cubs. Oh, she's now biting elephant poo. That must be a lovely breakfast. Ooh. Yeah, I can't imagine that's very nutritious. Of course, at this age though, they are teething, so I mean, it's like a dog. It gets itchy, it gets quite sore coming out, so they'll start biting, branches, plants, and, well, now, elephant poo. See, that ball is nearly half her body size. She didn't enjoy that too much. Her lips curling up. Oh, cutie. In the stage, maybe the brother is going to get jealous. See how she plays with it, and all this is like teaching them to hunt. Like a baby cat, really just a baby cat. Oh no, she didn't enjoy that at all. No, there was something bitter in there, or that smelled bad, and it caused her to shake her head, try to shake it off like that. Yeah, I'd rather play with her brother. I'm gonna go in front of the camera a little bit and just follow this tiny two-track a bit forward while they are behind the mom. Odie, let me know if it's a bit better. There we go, so we can see the cubs as well. They're quite cute playing with each other. And then the elephant poo, that should work. Let me sprawl myself across the seats again. There we go, all good? Yeah, so adorable. See, very short, stubby legs, and they can't really use it too well yet. Although, I mean, they get stuck in all the holes out here in the river. So even when they walk, they trip over themselves, trip over their legs, trip over the holes, fall on their faces. That's literally just the cutest thing to watch. I think lion cubs are my favorite. They're like fuzzy balls of fluff. Going back to the elephant poo, maybe. Different piece of elephant poo. Big paws, though, for such a tiny body. Oh, that just can't be nice. So we haven't seen them eat meat yet. We think they're just drinking. Oh. River's saying, cute little bundle of fun. Look at her pulling her lips up. That cute little bundle of fun definitely has sharp little teeth. I wonder if she's getting pieces of grass stuck in the teeth. That's why she pulls her lips up. She's trying to like flick the tongue to get the grass out of the teeth. But it is like a baby cat. I mean, they'll roll around with a piece of a ball or anything to entertain themselves. Never seen a cat play with the elephant poo though. Yeah, look at the claws coming out on either side as well. I mean, you think it's cute, and then you'll see they're even born with these deathly things. Big claws, a big paw. Oh, she's got the entire thing. There we go. You're doing well. Definitely very happy with that. Very, very happy. We've got another viewer naming another cub, calling it Menace Lou. Thanks, Kim. No, Sean wanted both of these to be girls, so he could call the one Kate and the other one Duplicate. Just so you all know, we're joking about it, but we don't name our lions. It's collectively, there's only a pride name. It's the Birmingham Pride, and these would be the two new Birmingham Pride cubs. We're not going to name them. Oh, she's now done with the elephant poo, and it's time to play with her brother again. Or not. She does look like she ate a bit of that. Stalking mom. So nice to see how they want to explore everything. Everything, like a lot of scents and a lot of smells, and everything is just kind of new to them, especially this area. I mean, it's the first time in their lives that they've ever been here. But I don't know if they've met the rest of the pride yet. It'll be interesting. This afternoon, definitely, we'll be coming back here and seeing what they're doing. Maybe the rest of the pride is here. Maybe it's going to be the first time they ever meet. For now, this lioness doesn't look like she's aiming to go towards the rest of the pride. Now, all the focus of that young lioness is on us. We're last at the mom. Oh, Lisa, if you were watching a little bit earlier, this mom had some of the kudu last night. So yeah, the mom ate last night with the rest of the pride that had the kudu. Oh, big yawn from her. Let's see, she might just get up. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, you can actually see blood behind her right ear. So she definitely had a piece of the kudu. Let's see, the cubbies will follow now. Because they don't want mom to venture too far. Because they don't feel safe without mom. At this age, still very, very, very vulnerable. So rather stay with mom, stay with the security that they know. Okay, mom's lying down again. And here comes the little young male. He's probably just going to lie next to his sister. Oh, Owen, I think that sneeze confused him. Okay. Yeah, probably just going to pass out right next to mom. Again, she keeps moving further and further away from the pride. For now, we'll let them snooze, snuggle up to mom. She's still watching the bank. And then send you across to Tswalu, Kalahari and see what they are up to.
So we're just sitting with this puff adder. We're actually going to move away from her now. But what I was saying earlier in terms of an ambush, there's brilliant research that's been done. Some good papers that were published in between 2016 and 2019 on an incredibly interesting technique that they use to lure prey towards them. So they, in these environments, their primary prey is are rodents, small mammals, but they'll go for frogs and that as well in other areas. And this study was done in Dinokeng Game Reserve, which is just north of Johannesburg in South Africa. Also in Savannah, but it's gets a lot more rainfall, get a lot more frogs. And what the researchers they found, Graham Alexander and his team, and they actually actively involved with research on cobras and boomsongs and swallow, and we'll get more to that over the next couple of days and weeks. But what they found with puff adders is that they can actually use their tongue as a lure. It's called lingual luring or lingual mimicry, and it's another term for that is aggressive mimicry, where mimicry is usually used to hide away, blend in with your environment, or to pretend to make your colors look like you something else that might be venomous. And a lot of insects use those kind of things. But aggressive mimicry is actually where you use your part of your body as a lure to attract a prey item. And so puff adders have been shown now that they will actually use their tongue flicking and the tip of their tail. They will slowly move their tip of their tail. And there's an incredible sequence of footage that the BBC got on what they call the Iranian spider-tailed viper. And that, the footage on that, if you can Google that viper, I think it's the Iranian spider-tailed viper, and the footage that they got on the tail of that snake looks exactly like a spider. And then it even moves the tail in the same way that a spider would be moving to lure birds closer. This footage is absolutely stunning. So puff adders may not be using it to that extreme level of mimicry, but certainly in terms of the way they move the tip of their tail very slowly, and even more so when they're going for amphibians, it's now well documented that they'll actually use a tongue for that. So it's not something that we're likely to see just sitting there like that. I mean, you'd have to set up infrared cameras, and do it over a long period of time. But that's just one aspect of their biology that is really, really fascinating. So I think let's leave this puffy. She's minding her own business. She may or may not move later during the course of the day as it gets warmer. But out of academic interest, what Yandra and I are going to do, Alamoa, this is just off the charts crazy behavior. And but have a look at that Iranian spider-tailed viper, and that is going to just blow your mind. I mean, what you're going to see there is takes it to another level. But we're going to move on now, but what Yandra and I are going to do over the coming weeks is we're going to take a GPS out, and we're actually going to GPS where the snake is every single day to see how it's moving. So Yanti's just asked, why is the snake in the same spot? And the reason there is simply, it's probably twofold. The primary one being is that with these low temperatures that we're experiencing, and remember, snakes are ectothermic, which means that they don't generate their own body temperature. They're cold-blooded, so they really rely on, to a large extent, on the ambient temperature around them in order to generate body heat, and then they can start moving. So if you recall, we found the snake late yesterday afternoon only, as temperatures were already dropping. And it's now still quite early in the morning here. It's still fairly cool. The snake's lying in a shady spot, so it actually probably hasn't even built up enough body temperature to start moving. The other alternative could be that maybe its body temperature is already warm enough, but it's just lying in wait for prey items to come past. I would still go with the fact that it's probably a little bit too cold to move. So speaking of moving, Yandra and I are going to move out, leave the snake alone, but watch the space. We're going to keep GPSing where the snake's moving to. Every time we come up to the Meerkats, we're going to GPS it and just see how it's going. And it'll be really interesting to follow, if it even moves over the coming weeks, it'll be really interesting to follow its activity patterns. So while we pack up and move out of this area and leave the snake alone, head over to Ngala and see what's happening on that side.
It's quite interesting. So we turned around because this lioness was looking that direction. So if you can see there are two of the Birmingham lionesses. And of course, where they are, they can definitely see the two new cubs here. So, you can see another one coming. So we might just watch the introduction of the Birmingham pride. She's right on top of her mom, though. That, over. So we're going to sit here for a while and see what happens. See, the mom is watching them quite intently. The baby is not fussed. He's just trying to kill the mom's face. Or she. It's going to be very cool. Very, very, very cool to see. So this would be my first time to ever watch the introduction of lion cubs to a new pride. What happened last time when they had the youngsters is that all of them were kind of born in the same vicinity and also same kind of time frame. Of course, these two new youngsters, they are at least a year and a month younger than the newest youngsters of the Birmingham pride, than the white lioness and her sister. It doesn't seem like they're coming closer. They came to almost a ridge top and just lying down and watching her, and she's watching them back. Bless you. See now 4 of them watching in this direction. But who knows, maybe they met them already. Don't know. don't think so. I don't think she would have moved them at night. I think she would rather wait for during the day to move the youngsters. Just at night time, there's too many things, too many dangerous things moving around, like hyenas, leopards, and other things. These youngsters are just, it's honestly just a bundle of joy. You're just trying to wake his mother up, biting her paw. Mind you, just tripped over her paw. That's how he landed in that position. They both just looked this direction. We had a big vulture sitting behind us that just flew off. So the sound of the wings is what caught their attention. It wasn't another sneeze from Owen. A beautiful lioness, isn't she? Gorgeous eyes. Ooh. Alana is commenting that this is a delicate situation. Indeed, it is, Alana. And there's really nothing we can do. We can't judge what's going to happen. We just have to wait and see. I mean, she does not look fussed. She does not look stressed out. As you can see, the babies look very content, especially the young male. Or he did look content until his sister just walked all over him. So yeah, we'll just wait and see what happens. I mean, if she thought this would be a problem at all, she'd probably move the youngsters to the den. I kid you not, she's a big lioness, and I think if she had to growl at any of the lionesses, or the Ross males, or the young brother, regardless of size or age, they would listen. But I'm not worried about the adults, I'm more worried about the other youngsters. You can actually hear that youngster moaning. It wants milk. Landeka saying it's got such small teeth. Those things are like little needles. Very, very sharp. So the other lions, sorry, I'll just keep you updated, but they are all looking in different directions now. Not like they are looking in this direction constantly. Funny, her mom is also there. The one with the white dot on her hip. I think for now everyone's just enjoying the sun, really. They've not moved at all again. Well, while we just watch and see what transpires, we're going to send you to David, who wants to give you a quick update on Djuma.
It's just been a very peaceful morning here on Djuma. We've been spending time with lots of wildlife, birding. Just stopped to have a quick look at these kudu, this mother with her youngster. Such a cute little kudu. Just moving off into some thick cover. Don't often get to spend too much time with kudu before they disappear into the bush. Try and roll back a little bit, we might be able to get another look at the little one. Oh, skittish. I love those massive ears. So important for kudu to be able to hear in the dense undergrowth and the thick vegetation where they spend the majority of their time. Let me go a little bit forward again. They're hard to see. We call them the grey ghosts, because when they want to, They just vanish. Just half of a kudu left. But at least we got a quick look at the little one. If you move a bit to the right, Alex, you might see through this gap. Christelle, you're saying kudu markings are mesmerizing. They are. I love those stripes down their back. It looks like a bird sat and did his business. But it is actually the kudu stripes. Look at those massive ears. Turning every which direction, always listening. Lovely. It was nice to spend some time with the elegant kudu. Kudu are also extremely capable jumpers. It's recorded that they've jumped over 3-meter fences, vertical fences. That's an incredible height. I've personally seen them jump over 2.4-meter game fences. And that's tall. That's, how many feet is that, Alex? That's 6, it's probably about 9 feet, something like that. Very good jumpers of fence. There's nothing but a little irritation to them when they really want to clear something. Zero Wood, you asked, what does the word kudu mean? I don't actually know what it means. I have been told before that the word originates from the sound that they make when they run, which is kudu, kudu, kudu. I have no idea if that's true or not. It's quite funny though, but yeah, let's go with that one. Awesome. Well, it's been lovely spending some quality time with our kudus. Kudu, kudu. Let's carry on, see what else is in store for us. Ah, there, I got you back. Sorry, FC, the comms broke up there for a second. Oh, got you back. Well, it sounds like Salu Kalahari is once again off the vehicle and looking at something very crazy and cool and scary on the ground.
So we've just been following this little armored ground cricket around. And what was super interesting is when the meerkats left their burrow, we're right at the burrow system here, it's about 10-15 yards behind us. One of the males made a poop. And when we got back from looking at the snake, this little armored ground cricket was actually busy eating it. And so it just shows, there's a nice example of the circle of life. These armored ground crickets are omnivores, so they'll eat absolutely anything that they can get hold of, with even live prey sometimes. If they get something that's kind of like incapacitated but still alive, they'll actually eat it. They'll eat plant matter, anything. And it just shows, there he walks along, picks up this dropping, and I'll if he moves off, I'll actually show you the meerkat dropping now as well and where it's been eaten. And he'll feed on that. So there's a circle of life. You've got your meerkats that are catching things, digging them up, feeding them, passes through the digestive tract, gets deposited. This little guy comes along in turn, eats that, and there's probably a very good chance that this guy's going to get eaten as well. I really apologize, I didn't get the name there, but I just got something about a demon cricket. It is, they do look quite mean and intimidating, but they're actually not as bad as they got no venom. So even if this guy, if you pick him up and put him in your hand, you'll see they'll actually start nibbling, because they'll realize, here's a good tasty morsel of protein, and they'll start nibbling, but they've got no venom. They've got no spines on their legs, so they can't kick you and hurt you. I mean, grasshoppers have even got more spines in their legs than these little guys do. So they've got their spines on their thorax. That's to help prevent anything picking it up there. Maybe it'll deter it a little bit. And they can actually spray this yellow liquid, this really foul-smelling yellow liquid, from their joints just under or on the side of the thorax over there. But otherwise, they're harmless. So they look mean, but they're really not. They're very, very cool little things. And this season we've had millions of them. There's been tons and tons around. But what we're seeing now are the last remnants of the ground cricket army. They're disappearing at a rapid rate now. That's primarily due to the cold weather. There's still enough food around for them, but the cold, the sub-zero temperatures, the frost that we've been having, has actually been killing them off rapidly. Just look at those antennae. You know what he must be picking up in the environment using those. Well, okay, in terms of how noisy are ground crickets, the males actually make a sound, like they go like this. That's the males that do that. The females don't make a noise. Well, certainly not that I can hear. And yeah, my hearing is not great. You may have picked that up. But the males are the ones that make the noise, and they actually use that sound as a warning and an alarm if there's danger around, whereas the females don't. And I'm just going to take an absolute wild guess here and say that in terms of the males making a noise, because there's so many of them, the males, if there's a danger around, they will make a noise, okay? And because they're making a noise, there's always the chance that can actually attract more attention to them and possibly even increase predation rates. Now, I've got nothing to base that on. I'm just sort of talking as I'm thinking here. But the females, by being absolutely dead silent, not making any noise, just sort of moving off quietly, you probably find it attracts less attention, or there's less likelihood of attracting attention to themselves. And that's obviously got huge benefits in terms of ensuring that the next generation actually gets out there. I don't know.
Crash cut.
Van Dekker, maybe crash cut.
Okay, so one of the liners has made away over here. Two more are coming, and they are the cubs didn't even react. But it's funny, these lionesses are approaching very slowly. It's only really the one that came up, sniffed the tail, and is now moving away. That one cub did not even wake up. But let's see. So that's one of the younger lionesses that just came to greet. Now, the larger lioness making her way here is the mom of this young lioness. And you can see even the cub now has gone around the mom to the other side. Didn't really know what to make of this. Plonked herself right down in between the two legs. And there we go. Looks very comfortable. Okay, this lioness has turned around, going the other way. Very curious, very, very strange. But they are lying down very close to this lioness. Of course, it's, you know, it's absolutely phenomenal because nothing's going to come into this area now with an entire pride of lions here. So maybe they just thought, okay, let's offer more security to this lioness, you know, and just lay down a little bit closer to her. So we've got the two very big lead lionesses here, and then one of the younger ones lying maybe 40 meters away from the lioness and her cubs. And she is now just cleaning her cub. It looks quite nice. It looks like the cub's quite enjoying that. But none of the youngsters have made their way here. So some of them are looking, but they've not come in this direction. Claudia, I am with you. This is unbelievable. I didn't really know what to expect, and to be honest, a bit of an anticlimax, but still very, very cool just to see one lioness come up. Didn't even sniff the... Oh, here she goes. She's going to the lionesses. Let's see. Cubs will follow. That's such a tiny, tiny, tiny little thing. Both of them. And then, of course, the one without the tip on his tail, bringing up the back. Ah, this is cool. This is so cool. This is so cool. See how the cubs are stopping just to see what mom's doing, how she's reacting to all that. Oh, the one lioness is growling. Just see teeth there. It's one of the older lionesses. I'm gonna drive us a little bit forward again on the 2-truck. So the aerial's not in the way. The one lioness is definitely growling at them. One of the older lionesses is almost warning them not to come closer, which I don't know why. They're not going to try drink from her. But look at those big teeth, yeah. Put them in their place. You can see the cub trying to find a different route to the mom. You can actually hear the growling. Nancy says it's the meet and greet time. Indeed it is, Nancy. Now the cubs are lying away from the mother because they're scared of the older auntie who keeps growling at them. I should feel quite bad for them. You can hear the growling. This old lioness here is growling, the one closest to us. She's got very yellow teeth. Looks like the young male wants to go up. Adele's saying what an amazing experience, and I agree, Adele. Like I said, for me, it's the first time I've ever seen this. So, just incredible. Not really what I was expecting. I don't really know what I was expecting, but very cool. Actually, one of the youngsters is now on his way here. One of the tawny youngsters. Looks like one of the males. So what we're going to do, we've got about a minute till end of show, but because this youngster's approaching, I think let's extend just a little bit, see what happens, see where he lays down, see what the cubs do. As I see, his eyes definitely, oh no, the other youngsters are coming as well. You can see how his eyes are so focused on this in this direction, not really knowing exactly what to do. Almost going into stalk mode. Looks like the entire pride is now on its way here. Even for a young lion, it's a scary posture, watching those eyes so focused, ears down. And now he's using grass as camouflage. Not the biggest piece of grass. Of course, as he gets older, he'll learn. And then Odie, sorry, let me get out of your camera there. But the other ones are also coming now, slowly but surely. All of them making their way here. Of course, coming here because the 3 lionesses came here first. It's not like the shade here is better, it's actually less shade here. And I think the young male hobbling along behind the rest. See him just come up the ridge now. He also wants to be part of the meet and greet. This is incredible. Okay. So also the Rossmel coming up now, the ridge. A lot of lions coming in this direction. How cool. My head in the way. Bend down. Sprawl over my seat again. Of course, we had no idea when this was going to happen, and I'll be very honest, I didn't think this was going to happen now. So all the lionesses to our left just lifted their heads and are looking in the direction of the pride. So they would have heard either sand crunching, and it's what alerted them. So one of the youngsters, the first youngster's now approaching. So he's coming to them. I want to see if he's going to the cubs at all. Yeah, let's see. See how angry Mom gets. Very defensive. And it put him in his place. Or her, sorry. Still very, very defensive of the youngsters. And of course, some of these youngsters, they'll try to take this opportunity to try to drink from the mother. Yeah, there we go. Oh, very delicate situation. But how cool to watch. Oh, it's the angry Rossmel making his way here. So what we'll do, we'll keep this running for a little while, just to see. Well, I think all the lions are just going to end up lying down here. See, the youngster wanted to go to the cub, and Mom is not letting it happen. You can actually see the cub also calling. Go ahead, walk past. So she doesn't have trust issues with the lionesses, but like I predicted, it's the cubs that scare her. So you'd see her face changes every single time a cub or one of the other youngsters walk past. Also, yeah, Landeko's saying some really great audio there, and you can just see it, like one snarl and one growl makes the youngsters move. See the cub just sitting in the shade. So this is the first time they're meeting it. You can see it. You can see it from all the reactions. They've never met the pride before. So this is the introduction to the Birmingham Pride for the new cubs. Alana's saying it doesn't seem so dangerous anymore. Alana, I'll be honest, I don't think we're quite out of the danger zone just yet. But, I mean, you saw how defensive this mom is. So you can see everyone's giving her quite a wide berth. Lips drawn back like that. It's almost like they're not even allowed to look in the direction of the cubs. So, let's see what happens. Here comes the angry Rossmel. right in front of the vehicle now. He's growling already. And he's looking at us and growling. In a big foul mood. Oh, this is gonna cause havoc. Yeah, go away, cubbies. Landeka's asking if I think the cubs are nervous, and I think so. I mean, you could see the little cub how it's watching the Rossmale one back. The one cub went straight into the bush. So what the Rossmale's doing now is he's digging in the sand. He's going to start urinating there. It's a territorial display. It's like saying, I'm the boss here. Okay, he's not urinating. I think the cubs are very nervous. It's the first time, so even though it's their family, they don't really know that. I don't really know how they would communicate it to each other. But I think watching their mom being so defensive with the rest of the pride makes them quite nervous. So the other Rossmale is not here yet. There's just one little white lioness still coming. The Birmingham young male, or the young male, is still growling at the Rossmale every now and then. But it looks like the lioness has, at least relaxed. Her eyes are closed. You just see the new cubs just watching everything going around. Okay. Well, you guys just watched the new cubs introduction into the Birmingham Pride. This was the first meet and greet, and just absolutely spectacular, wasn't it? I think we're going to end on this. What a wonderful morning. Thanks everyone for joining us. That was stunning.